Hi, this is Randy.
Going to read an article from cnsnews.com. Bachelor Nation. 70% of men aged 20 to 34 are not married. By Barbara Hollingsworth, February 12, 2015. 70% of American males between the ages of 20 and 34 are not married, and many live in a state of perpetual adolescence with ominous consequences for the nation's future, says Janice Shaw Cruz, author of Marriage Matters. Far too many young men have failed to make a normal progression into adult roles of responsibility and self-sufficiency, roles generally associated with marriage and fatherhood. Cruz, the former executive director of the Beverly Institute, wrote in a recent Washington Times op-ed. The high percentage of bachelors means bleak prospects for millions of young women who dream about a wedding day that never may come. It's very, very depressing, Cruz told CNSnews.com. They're not understanding how important it is for the culture, for society, for the strength of the nation to have strong families. She pointed out that there's no data to back up the common assertion that a lack of jobs during and after the Great Recession is the primary reason so many young men have been reluctant to tie the knot. The problem with marriage was long before that, she points out. After decades of feminism, Cruz noted that young men are now the ones who set the parameters for intimate relationships, and those increasingly do not include a wedding ring. And I know the feminists just yell and scream if you say anything like this, but time was girls set the cultural mores, the standards, the parameters for intimate activity. The girls were the ones that set those boundaries, and now it's the guys who do, Cruz told CNSnews.com. And it's doubly terrible because the colleges are now predominantly female. So you have some up to 60% of the student bodies are female, and almost all of them are more than 50% female. And so the ratio of male-female is out of sync. And that means the girls have to live by the guys' demands. And that means less romance. They don't date. The girls I have talked to, numerous women, lament the fact they don't have the opportunity to dress up and go out for an event. Young women who adhere to a moral code and refuse to participate in the hookup culture are now considered social misfits, Cruz pointed out, and they face even more daunting odds of finding a husband than their promiscuous sisters. It's really interesting because Mark Regeneris and Jeremy Ucker wrote a book called Premarital Sex in America, 3-4 years ago? And even then, they were very concerned about the fact that young women today are not as likely to get married. And their prospects, if they are not sexually promiscuous, are really low. Because the guys, if they can sleep around, they're not interested in going with the girls who don't put out. The ones who are very serious get married early, and that leaves the majority of the girls. Then, by the time they're 25 and in their first jobs, the pickings are very, very slim for them. And Mark Regeneris was very, very clear that the, quote, good girls are the ones who are at risk now in terms of not being able to get married. According to 2014 data from the U.S. Census Bureau, 7.9 million opposite-sex couples in the U.S. live together but aren't married. A 2014 study by Johns Hopkins University also found that 57% of children born to women aged 26 to 31 are out of wedlock. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. 57% of children born to women aged 26 to 31 are out of wedlock. And I do hear MGTOWs complaining and a lot of other people complaining about these single mothers, but what if the mothers are single because no one asked them to marry marry him? So is it her fault that she's single? I mean, yes, she should probably not had a child without being married, but since she did, she's single. Does she really want to be single, or just no one wants to marry her? Even researchers from the left are coming out very strongly for the family and for marriage, and saying that the two-parent family is necessary for children to do their best. It's not just good for them, it's the very best. It's the gold standard. It's essential for children to reach their potential, and that has to be communicated to the popular culture. The decline in marriage and corresponding rise in cohabitation is happening despite at least a decade of research demonstrating the social benefits of two-parent families. According to projections based on census data, when today's young adults reach their mid-40s to mid-50s, a record high share, 25%, is likely to have never been married. Pew Research noted in a 2014 study documenting the decline of marriage in the U.S., but men are not entirely to blame for the steep decline in marriage, Cruz pointed out. A lot of women fear marriage. While feminism is a spent force, the ultimate consequences of that philosophy is a whole generation of women who don't want any man to tell them what to do and don't really understand the give and take that is necessary for a marriage relationship. However, the box office success of movies like American Sniper, which features a very masculine Navy SEAL, is an indication that women still respond to strong men, she said. CNSnews.com asked Cruz if that means the cultural pendulum has finally swung back in the male direction after decades of feminism. That's not certain yet, she replied. There's still a lot of anti-male stuff out there. Feminism has largely achieved its goal of equality in the workplace, so the movement has lost relevance for young women who are now earning more college and professional degrees than men, she pointed out. However, feminine's effects on the culture, including the historically low marriage rate, will linger for some time to come, she noted. Feminism was supposed to bring women happiness, Cruz said, but the research shows that women today are much more unhappy than they have been in the past. They've ended up with far more opportunities, but their personal happiness is way down. I just wanted to read that article. It's what we've been experiencing, and so I just kind of want everyone who's older than 25 here to kind of put their chin up. It's not our age ladies. It's everybody. It's even the young girls. They're not even getting a chance at a first and second marriage. They're just not getting asked to get married, period. So, I mean, it really sucks for them, and it sucks for society. And like this article said, we're not going to be a strong nation when we don't have any families, when the predominant number of people are just like off living on their own and, you know, being promiscuous or isolative. So things are not working out for all ages. It's not just those of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. Even the young ones are having trouble, and I don't know what's really going to turn this around in the other direction. I don't think that teaching people the importance of the family is going to change anything, because the damage is kind of what's done is done, and I don't really see it going in the opposite direction. So I guess be thankful if you ever really were married, and if you did have an opportunity to have kids within a marriage, even if it was with a narcissist. I mean, that's, you know, a different nightmare in itself, but some people won't get that opportunity, and a lot more won't get the opportunity now than was in the past. So thanks for listening. Have a good night.